The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
From New York, The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. This is Ed McMahon, along with Doc Severinsen and the NBC Orchestra, inviting you to join Johnny and his guests, Muhammad Ali, Harry Chapin, Mike Preminger, and special guests, the Mayor of New York, John Lindsay, and the Mayor of Jerusalem, Teddy Kollek. And now, here's Johnny.
You don't... Come on. Come on, you really... Come on now, look. Look, you really... Yeah, you really embarrassed me by that, but you're my guest, so go ahead and embarrass me. You shouldn't get too attached to me. It'll only make it tougher when I have to leave. And It is always nice to welcome a visitor back to New York, isn't it?
Yes.
So relax, Mayor Lindsay will be out shortly. It is great to get back here, isn't it?
It is great. Sensation.
You're practically standing on my feet.
You're so close to us, I thought you were the boy vocalist with the band.
Now for a musical change of pace? You had to get that one for New York, didn't you?
Oh, this was made in New York. Raoul of Bayonne.
Made in New York by New Yorkers. You sound great, and thank you. We're going to be here for 3 weeks. This is like coming home. We've worked here for, what, 9 years?
9.5 years.
9.5 years. And we're going to be coming back to New York ever so often. We have not deserted the city. City deserted us. What does that mean? I keep kidding Mayor Lindsay, and I should not kid the mayor. He's a guest tonight. And did you tell him we also have a special guest?
Yes.
I had dinner with the mayor last night and his wife, Mary, and they had the mayor, Ted Kollek, of Jerusalem there. He's a charming man. I asked the mayor to invite him tonight, so he's with it. You get 2 mayors for the price of 1 tonight. But Mayor Lindsay says that his job is the second toughest job in the country. You know what the first one is? That's the guy who has to drag Lindsay out of bed and get him into the office and make him go to work. That's the toughest job. Now, the folks who live in Queens here, the folks who live in Queens have been unfair to the mayor. They say that he never comes there. Isn't that true in New York? Mm. That is not true. That is not true. He has to drive through there to get to the airport. He's through there all the time in Queens. Do you know there's a strike in Manhattan? The waiters in some of the restaurants are on strike here. How many restaurants, do you know? 13 or 14 restaurants are on strike. Actually, what they did, and Mayor Lindsay, you got to admit, will go to any lengths to ease the situation, but it was kind of embarrassing to see the mayor over at the Carnegie Deli yelling, "Who's got the pastrami to go?" I thought that was actually the reason why the Raiders, blah, blah, blah. So I get nervous.
Right.
This is like opening night for me. And it is for you, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You opened tonight at the St. Regis, and you were great.
Review. Thank you.
It's my first review, because by the time this show is seen, you will have opened there.
Yes.
So it's only fair to say that you had a great opening. A lot of your friends were there.
Yes.
And
you were there?
That's right. I was there, and I was.
Boy, what fun you had.
Yeah. Yeah, but I drank too much. Is that what I'm going to do tonight? The reason the waiters went on strike, they heard that Ed's act was opening, and they deemed that cruel and unusual punishment.
Cruel and what?
I don't know, like cruel and indecent or unusual punishment or something. We had a little trouble getting here. Doc walked through the metal detector and his ankle bracelet set off the thing. We checked into we're staying at the Park Sheraton Hotel here. It's the staff loves it. It's a very friendly place.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a friendly hotel. About 1 o'clock this morning, the house dick knocked on my door and says, "You got a girl in there?" And I said, "No," and he tossed one in. Oh,
That's friendly.
What?
That's friendly.
That's an unusual hotel. It's a tip-off when you walk into the lobby and they're playing Love for Sale. Did you get a car here?
A car?
Didn't you get a car yet?
No, I have not gotten a car. I'm in New York. I don't need a car in New York.
I rented my car.
Really?
Sure.
Where'd you go?
Well, NBC made a deal. Thank you for asking.
I knew what you wanted.
Yes. You know what I want. Just feed them in there. No, I did rent a car. Ask me where I rented it.
Where'd you rent it?
Well, I went down to a place. So, Aldo's Rent-A-Car.
Aldo's?
Aldo's? You heard what I said. Aldo's Rent-A-Car is over on the west side. And I said to the guy, I said, you have a Jack in the trunk? He says, no, but I got a Tony and a Big Al. Well, stuff hasn't changed a bit, has it, guys? We've just got to refurbish them. What else is in the news? Governor Rockefeller's in the news. Not Governor Rockefeller per se, but his... Well, it's his brother, right? Jay Rockefeller. Didn't he run for the governor of West Virginia?
Yeah.
And he lost. Jay Rockefeller lost, and he was very disappointed, so... It's his uncle. It's his cousin, isn't it? It's his nephew.
It's a relative, certainly.
It would be his cousin.
Whatever you say, go ahead.
No, it's his cousin. It doesn't make any difference, really, for this joke, because by the time I get it out, it's dead now. But actually, Jay was so disappointed that Uncle Nelson, you see, that's why I wanted to tie that together, gave him a gift.
What was the gift?
Puerto Rico.
I think it was his nephew.
It was his nephew. There was an interesting picture in the paper today.
I guess you'll be relating that, too.
What? Oh, yes, the lady. Tell us. We're happy to tell you about it, darling. Did you see Henry Kissinger and Joe Namath met yesterday? The picture was in the paper. They're negotiating a ceasefire on Jill St. John. That's what they did. Well, as I said, we've got a good show tonight. We have John Lindsay with us. We have Muhammad Ali. We have Harry Chapin. We have a new young comedian, Mike Preminger. As I mentioned, Teddy Kollek, who is the mayor of Jerusalem. He is meeting with Mayor Lindsay backstage right now. They're trying to get the pastrami tariff lowered. It was his nephew. You were right. It was his nephew. Well, we're certainly glad to be back here and get this monologue rolling. What? What? What do you mean?
Hit the golf ball.
Oh, did I do that after I finish these jokes, don't I? You don't have to get the horns up yet, guys. I'm not done. You don't have to bail me out by getting the horns up. Get the horns up. We'll be with you in just 1 minute. How are you? Thank you. Now, here's a sure thing, Max Pack. Great tasting coffee packed in its own filter.
I had the girls over for lunch, and everything tasted fantastic. Everything but the coffee. Maybe I used too much, too little. It never tastes the same way twice. But now I've got a sure thing. Max Packs. Pre-measured so you can't make a mistake. And this filter traps grounds and sediment that can cause bitterness. What joy. Great coffee every time. Max Packs. It's a sure thing.
Margot, our prime puppy, is 8.5 months old now, and she's found a new friend.
You're a good dog. You're my friend.
Margot's really grown into a big, lovable pup. And she's done it exclusively on Gaines Prime and Prime Variety, with individual beef, chicken, and liver flavor packets. She's got 3 different meaty dinners to choose from. Prime, Beefy Pack and Variety Pack, for a taste dogs keep on loving.
nice to be back up here again with our New York people. How many are from New York, really, tonight? Good, good. We thought we'd come up the first night we're here, play Stump the Band. You guys remember how this is played? Getting pretty gray there, aren't you, Tone? The old man went gray in 6 months, just like that. We'll start with these ladies here. Are you together?
Yeah.
You are?
Martha Cruz, Elaine Ocasio.
Where are you girls from?
We're from Queens.
Does Mayor Lindsay ever come over there?
Never.
Well, you can tell him that when he comes out. What's the name of the song?
The Blob.
The Blob. The Blob.
The Blob. I think Doc has that.
No, I haven't got it, but Jimmy Maxwell has worked on it for 6 months.
Jimmy Maxwell.
Maxwell, you got it? The Blob?
The Blob.
That's the Blob right there.
That's not it? Don't
No,
hear that
he's
often
the
on a
Blob.
Jew's harp, do you? Can you sing a little bit of that? Why not?
Beware of the blob, it creeps and leaps and glides and slides across the floor, right through the door and over on the wall. A blotch, a splotch, be careful of the blob. Beware of the blob.
We're back home. Okay. What do we got here? Okay. Dinner for two. Dinner for two at the end of the clock. That's over at the United Nations Plaza, 49th and 1st. Okay, you're welcome. All right. Lady here. You are?
Amy Goldberg.
Where are you from, Amy?
Westbury, Long Island.
You sounded like you weren't sure.
Because I live in Manhattan now.
Oh, I see. It's a long walk, isn't it, every day? What do you do out in Westbury or in Manhattan?
Go to school, finishing school at NYU.
Okay. What's the name of the song?
Over a jar of pickles.
Over a jar of
The
pickles.
doctor has this.
No,
What?
Ed has it.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I got it.
Somewhere over the pickles, there's a ham on rye.
Oh, not it. Not it. Can you sing a little bit of that?
A very little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Some girls need a starry night. Some prefer the pale moonlight. As for me, he came in sight over a jar of pickles.
Kind of sweet. Okay. Dinner for two at Downing Square Restaurant on Lexington Avenue. Okay. Somebody else. Let's go to the gentleman here. You, I thought you were going to pull a gun on me there for a moment. You are?
Jan Shenley,
Where are you from, James?
Brooklyn.
What do you do in Brooklyn?
I'm a pharmacist.
Are you really? Okay. What's the name of the song?
It's called I'm Looking at the World Through 3D Glasses, but you still look flat to me.
I'm looking at you. Well, you heard it. Through 3D glass, but you still look flat to me.
He's got it.
Doc knows that?
Well, I'm looking at the world through 3D glasses, but you still look right in the chest to me.
Well, good. Nice try, Doc. You see the mayor of Jerusalem sitting backstage saying, what kind of a show am I coming on? That's not it, is it, Jim? I'm glad of that. How's that? Can you sing some of that?
Yeah, a couple of bars. I picked you up at 9 o'clock. I thought that you'd be ready, but when I saw the sweater you had, I wanted to date Betty. I'm looking at the world through 3D glasses, but you still look flat to me. The shape you had yesterday was kind of rubbery.
You drew the biggie tonight. Dinner for two at Bernstein's on Essex Street Kosher Chinese Restaurant. What? Can we make that for three?
Yeah.
We can make that for three, can't we? Sure. All righty. All righty. Gentlemen, you are...
Cliff Page,
Where are you from, Cliff?
Tuxedo Park.
What do you do there?
I teach
Yeah, what's your specialty?
mathematics.
Good. I don't understand the new math at all.
We have a quartet here.
Good for you. See, he is a mathematician. He knew right off. The four of them were a quartet. What's the name of the song?
The Titanic.
The Titanic. It's too bad you had to bring that up on Ed's opening night.
Here he reminded me of an old service song.
Yes, don't get into that.
No.
Can you sing a little bit in that for us, group?
It was sad, it was sad. It was sad when the great ship went down to the bottom of the husbands and wives. Little children lost their lives. It was sad when the great ship went down.
You're not supposed to be smiling when you sing that. That's a sad song. Okay. We'll make this for 4, okay? Dinner for 4 at Cheers on 120 West 41st. Thank you very much. All right. This gentleman here. Hi, you are?
Donnie Scatina.
Where are you from, Donnie?
Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, what do you do in Brooklyn?
Oh, hang out most of the time.
Yeah, you know. What else to do? Just sit around. No, you...
Look at pictures of the mayor.
Yeah, just hang around Brooklyn, huh? Yeah. Do you go to school over there?
I MC, and I'm a stand-up comedian in a club.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, Banana Fish Park in Brooklyn.
That's the name of the club?
That's it.
And you're the MC?
Well, I try to do it. I'm trying to take after my friend Ed.
Yeah. What kind of shows do you have over there?
Oh, rock shows, different groups we have, singing performances. Harry Chapin was there last week with us.
Good. He's a good talent.
Best.
What's the name of the song?
Porcupine Pie.
Porcupine Pie.
She in the band?
No, we can't do that. Ed does that in his act. He'll have to.
Yeah. Are you saving that for tonight? Can you give us a few bars of that?
I'll give you a couple. I'll try. Porcupine pie, porcupine pie, vanilla soup, chicken ripple ice cream. Oh, maybe I want, maybe I will, maybe I won't. The tutti fruit and chicken ripple ice cream. Boop, boop.
We'll buy that. No blink light. Dinner for 2 at the Spindletop on West 47th Street. That's a nice restaurant. Good luck with your place. All right, here's a young lady here. You are?
Carlotta Florio.
Carlotta Florio. Where are you from, Carlotta?
New York.
Uh-huh. What are you whispering, Carlotta?
I don't know.
Oh, all right. What do you do?
I work for Estee Lauder.
Oh, do you? Well, I know her. She's a very nice lady.
She is.
Yeah. What's the name of the song?
Benny's Heaven's O.
Benny's what?
Benny's Heaven's O. It's an Army song.
Benny's Heaven's...
Benny having what?
Benny's Heaven's O.
Benny's having his own.
I didn't hear that. Benny's Heaven's...
O.
Benny's Heaven's O.
Benny's.
Well, let's go.
You got them stuck on the title. How are they going to know it if they can't...
Every time it rains, Benny's heaven, oh. Don't you know each cloud contains...
She said...
Benny's heavens, oh.
She said that you guys would have known this a few years ago.
Blow the pipes here.
You guys mind if I get on in a moment? You guys doing an act over here. Can you sing part of that?
Come fill your glasses, fellows, and stand up in a row. We're singing sentimentally, we're going far to go. In the Army, there's sobriety, promotion's very slow, but we'll sing our reminiscence of Benny's Heaven's O.
There you are. All righty. Dinner for 2 at O. Henry Steakhouse. It's on West 4th Street, okay? We will do this, then Mayor Lindsay will join us. When you choose your stereo, take a tip from this lady and get 'em a Marantz. They sound better.
Does the sound of your stereo give her a pain in the head? It's not that she's got super-duper sensitive hearing, but it's been said most women hear better than men. So when she screams, "Turn down the sound," perhaps what she really means is, turn down the distortion. But Marantz stereo equipment has virtually no distortion, and Marantz delivers distortion-free sound throughout the listening range. So dry up those tears. The sound of Marantz stereo won't give her a pain in the head. Marantz stereo, for years the popular choice of many professional soundmen, now has a line of quality stereo products at prices you can afford. Marantz stereo is sold only in department stores and shops that specialize in fine, high-fidelity stereo. When you shop, take her along. Marantz, we sound better.
It is always a great pleasure to have Mayor John Lindsay on this show. Would you welcome, please, His Honor, the Mayor of New York City, John Lindsay. Thanks for coming tonight.
Well, it's good to see you, Johnny.
And
Where have you been?
We just took a short vacation in California. No, I want to thank you, first of all, and your wife, Mary, for the lovely dinner last night. Enjoyed that very much. And I asked you if Mayor Kollek would like to come along tonight. I understand he's going to join us in a little while.
I hope so. We can't find him at the moment, but other than that,
he's
he'll
out
be here.
Speaking somewhere?
He's running around town raising money in my city to take to Jerusalem. Is what he's doing.
Meeting him last night, he's very capable of doing that, too.
Well, it's good to see you.
Thank you very much.
In fact, I hadn't seen you since you got married. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Night.
That's right.
You're kind of like my business politics. If you don't succeed, keep try and try again.
Well, but I hope to get better at it, you see. All right. Okay. Lindsay won, Carson won.
Chalk one up for Carson. Oh, man.
You had,
good.
we read about, we missed your flood back here. I guess you really did have a flood here in New York City, didn't you, a week ago Wednesday?
Yes, God was mad at us. And I was building the ark, though. I was right ahead of it. I had 2 city councilmen over here and a couple of turtles over there. We were ready.
Almost 5 inches of rain in the city?
Yeah, in the shortest possible time. It was very big. See, a lot has happened since you left town.
I read about it all the time because I still take the New York papers every day in California because I miss them very much.
We've had we've been able to cut out the late night collection of garbage and all kinds of things.
Yeah, but I kind of miss that. That was fun. You knew when you were getting home. We were talking a little bit last night, you and the mayor, about the problems of managing a city. And I know you have what they call now the Times Square area, which was years ago was the place where all the tourists and people who come to this great city wanted to go. And in the last few years, it fell into kind of bad times because they had a lot of theaters down there. And you're trying to make a great effort to get that back in shape, and it seems to be working, is it not?
Yes, it is, Johnny. It's a lot of pressure because everybody comes to Times Square. It's the place where the action is, and everybody wants to see it. And it's always the place where newcomers come, and the kids always come. I remember as a kid myself, the first thing I wanted to do was go to Times Square, and everybody else was in the same position. But it's really moving, and we look forward to, and we're in fact, the beginnings of a renaissance on Times Square that is really glittering. We're building 4 new Broadway theaters.
That's what I hear.
We've opened 2. The next one opens up next Sunday night, big musical theater. And then in the middle of January, we have another musical theater equipped with restaurants and parking and all kinds of things. So it's moving. The whole place has been lit up. So that it's brilliantly lit now, and it really is generally the Great White Way. And we've got some other strategies. There's the real possibility of a very powerful new hotel complex with maybe another theater on top of that. So we're working hard. Then we're in the process of building a huge new convention center in the Hudson River, right in the river on just south of 48th Street.
What do you mean in the river?
And right smack in it, right in the water, right in the water. And alongside of that will be a huge new passenger liner terminal, which is in the water, which is in construction now.
You mean they're going to put up pilings and put the convention center
right? You put a platform on. Right. You build it right on a platform, put it in there. It'll be the country's biggest. And we'll tie that in with all of the westward movement. In other words, it ties in with Times Square and with some new mass transit that we're building. So we're very optimistic, but it's a lot of work.
I've kidded the city, and I suppose a lot of comedians have been guilty at one time or another with no intention of, downgrading the city, because New York City, without a doubt, is the most exciting city I have ever been in the world, of any of them at all. It all happens right here in New York City. And sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's easy to make jokes when you get on a subject about Central Park or somebody getting mugged, which happens in any city. And as we were talking last night, New York, strangely enough, may have the reputation of being sometimes a very hostile city. But we only have half a minute here because we're going to have to get around the corner to get your answer. But New York does not rate near the top on crime statistics in many, many areas.
No, far from it. We're number 11 down the list of larger cities.
Well, we're just going to have to try harder. Now, you see, now right away, I'm not helping at all,
You're doing pretty well in Los Angeles.
Let me take a break, and we'll come right back here. Tonight, we are happy to welcome a new sponsor to our show. ESB's Exide and Willard... What? Oh, well, you won't know what that is. So there it is, right there, yes. There they are, right there. A sponsor that is saying hello and good night tonight. It's a great battery, and it'll make your car a good car. Ed, want to tell them about that?
No truer words were ever spoken, John. When you buy a battery, here's the one to get, the Go Lifetime Battery from Exide and Willard, products of ESB. Just look at this remarkable guarantee. If the Go Lifetime Battery ever fails to hold a charge while you own the non-commercial passenger car in which it was first installed, this battery will be replaced free at any Exide or Willard dealer, provided you present the registration card when you apply for the replacement. That's power. Guaranteed power. You just watch and you'll see what I mean.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
These are the Go cars. Each has a Go Lifetime battery, the battery guaranteed to its owner for the life of his car. If it ever fails to hold a charge, he gets a new one free. Make your car a Go car with a Go Lifetime battery. Power enough for the life of your car. Guaranteed by Exide and Willard.
Travel arrangements provided by United, serving 113 cities, making your land our land. In New York, the Tonight Show staff is staying at the New York Sheraton Hotel, one of the more than 240 Sheraton hotels and motor inns worldwide.
Welcome back. My guests tonight are Mayor John Lindsay, the Mayor of Jerusalem. Teddy Kollek will be joining us shortly. We have Muhammad Ali and Harry Chapin and Mike Preminger. I was asking Mayor Lindsay about New York, and we were discussing it. A lot of people in various parts of the country, sometimes when they read things in the paper, are sometimes reluctant to come to New York. They shouldn't be. It is not the jungle that sometimes people make it out to be. And you had some interesting statistics on that about New York City and other cities in the country.
Yeah, well, it's generally assumed by a lot of people because of the attention that we get in the media here in New York, as we are the biggest city in the country, and the busiest one, is that we're #1 in crime problems. Well, we're not. I don't take any comfort from that. The fact that Los Angeles is higher than we are. I want you to know that. But it is true.
You know who I'm going to hear from when I go back to Los Angeles, don't you?
Yeah, give my regards to Sam Yorty. The actual FBI statistics for the first 6 months of 1972 in total crimes puts New York City number 11. First is, interestingly enough, Denver. Second is Detroit, then San Francisco, then St. Louis, then Los Angeles is 5th. 6 is Boston, 7 is Baltimore, 8 is Cleveland, 9 is Phoenix, 10 is New Orleans, 11 is New York. But of course, we here in New York get all the publicity on the question,
right?
Because the media is centrally located here, and we are the action town.
It makes the news here.
But we're working on it, and believe you me, we're working on it. We have a crackerjack police department and Police Commissioner Pat Murphy, who's going to be on your show next Wednesday.
That's
understand?
right.
It's coming Wednesday, and a crackerjack team of professionals, and they're making gains. The rate of increase is going down. Curiously enough, the rate of increase on crime is going up in all of the suburbs around the major cities around the country, higher than the central cities. That's true in Nassau, Suffolk, Westchester counties around here. Tells you something about suburban America, too, that we're all in the same boat, you know, and there's no use trying to lock in the cities or lock out the suburbs. The fact of the matter that we have a big job to do, and we have to do it together.
Didn't somebody once say that New York's problems right now will probably be the rest of the country's in perhaps 5 or 10 years as the population increases?
We like to think, Johnny, in New York, that we're the first in everything. We get most of the problems first because we're the center. This is where everybody comes. This is where the great immigration waves came from Europe, from Central Europe, from Mediterranean countries all around. And then the last big immigration waves that hit in New York were from Spanish-speaking countries and from within our own country. Poor blacks migrated out of their areas and came to New York. And then that whole movement began to go westward. And the data in history shows the movement of population of most recent immigrants, just like it was way back in the turn of the century, is that it begins in New York and then it moves west. So that the country has a common problem here, and there's nothing to do but to face up to it and solve it as best as we can. I have my problems too. I heard you teasing me about Queens back there when you're doing your thing. I like to say that I've had more trouble with Queens than any politician since Henry VIII.
Good remarkable. Oh, that's one for you. You're creeping up. You often hear that cliche about the city being unmanageable. Is it a city like this unmanageable?
No, it's manageable, and we think that it's, of course, in some ways it's more manageable than a lot of other smaller communities because we have such a broad tax base. We can finance our school system as it were a whole state. We are the 6th largest state all by ourselves here. The borough of Brooklyn is the 4th largest city in the United States all by itself. That's a little better in some respects. A lot of communities are going through traumatic difficulties on financing their school systems, but we have our problems, but that's not one of our larger ones. So I think it is manageable. I've just got through bringing in a lot of the bondholders of New York from all over the country, from Los Angeles, West Coast, South, and they came here and they subjected themselves to 3 days of intensified education. We brought them here with their wives, put them in a hotel, and then we showed them all our warts, our bruises, our cuts, and all the things that are wrong with us, and we showed them the glitter, too. But they were re-educated, and all of them left saying, and wrote letters saying, first thing we're impressed with is the management team, and that's a city that is clearly manageable and being managed. And you have a management team that's probably equivalent to the best corporate management in the country. Second, they said, the impression we had after 3 days of homework is quite different from what we read in the media. We have an entirely different view of New York. So the media does really have an obligation to put things in perspective, to be balanced about it. And we're working on that, and I think the media is beginning to catch on a little bit. There's a growing civic pride in New York, a lot of anger on the part of the businessmen and professionals over the knocking about that we take and the bad press that we take. And it's helping. I think you're doing better too, Johnny.
Yeah. No, New York is a great city. I lived here for 17 years, and I'd never intentionally, would go out of the way to knock the place that you live.
Well, I see that your ratings are still top. They're very, very good.
We seem to be
And that
doing very
means
well.
if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Do you have New York's crack snow removal crew standing by again this year, or did they lose their galoshes?
We're ready for you. We're ready for you. It hasn't snowed once since you left.
Hasn't snowed at all? It probably will before we leave, though. We have to interrupt a second here, and then we will have Mayor Teddy Kollek of the city of Jerusalem join us after this word from one of our sponsors.
The world is full of dips. Dull dips. But there is hope. This jalapeno pepper gives Fritos brand jalapeno bean dip a taste you'll never forget.
Jalapeno, jalapeno, in the bean dip, what you taste is the jalapeno.
Fritos jalapeno bean dip. Rejoice! This is the end of dull dips.
Dishes on the bottom rack, cups on the side of the top rack. Round mixing bowls on the side of the back of the bottom rack.
In 1969, Whirlpool came out with the first dishwasher with silverware baskets, not inside, but in the door, to help make it possible to load the dishes nearly any way you want. Just one of the many major innovations introduced by Whirlpool.
We were just looking at, I didn't know you had these made up.
Yes, the hotel did that.
The hotel at the St. Regis made up.
And you're opening tonight, and I want to wish you a lot of luck. You got a new button made, says Ed's in town. I wonder if my police know it.
They will.
You should have on the back of this, if you find this man, do not give him insulin. He is drunk.
We'll take care of that, too.
My next guest I met at Gracie Mansion last night, and I enjoyed that history of Gracie Mansion. I don't know whether most New Yorkers know it or not, but that has not been the official residence of the mayors here like forever. It was one time a private...
No. By the way, Mary and I really loved having you there and your beautiful wife, Joanna. She's just a marvelous gal.
Yes, she is.
Marvelous gal. She's too good for you, probably.
Probably true.
But she's just great, and we enjoyed having you. And Teddy Kollek, the mayor of Jerusalem, was there. An old friend of mine, and a really lovely human being. But Gracie Mansion was not the home of the mayor of New York City until LaGuardia was mayor, and then in his late years as mayor, 1942 or 3, the mayor moved in. Prior to that, it had been a museum. And then prior to that, it had been kind of a catering place for that huge park that surrounds Gracie Mansion.
And that was built in about 1799
Built in
or something?
1799. It was a very rich Scottish merchant by the name of Archibald Gracie.
And that was his farm?
That was his country home, yes. It's right in
You
the
can
heart of
imagine that was the country when New York was that young.
But prior to that, the mayor had always lived in his own apartment house, wherever it happened to have been.
So you and Bob Wagner and O'Dwyer and Vincent and Pelletier for a short term were in there, right?
That's correct.
That's interesting. It's a fascinating place.
Anytime you want the job, let me know.
Oh, no.
I'll be glad to do it. How about state? We'll run you against Nelson Rockefeller. You're probably the only man in America who can afford it.
No way. No, I don't think I'd be a good politician at all.
Try Reagan then.
Yeah, maybe governor of California. This is a charming gentleman. It was very interesting to meet him last night, and He is the mayor of the city of Jerusalem, and we thought you might like to meet him tonight. Would you welcome, please? His Honor, and I understand he doesn't like particularly being called His Honor.
Like me, he's called every name in the book.
Yeah, you pick your name. Would you welcome, please, Mr. Teddy Kollek? It's such a great place.
Since when is there honor in being a mayor?
We should change places.
Would you like to?
Come on.
Mayor Kollek, would you like? Somebody told me, Your Honor, that you don't like to be called Your Honor. Is that true?
Is there any honor in being a mayor?
Well, sure, there should be.
Well, you know, the English come to Jerusalem and they call me your worship. So I have to tell them that we don't worship anybody in Jerusalem, certainly nobody who dwells amongst us. And there is no honor in being a mayor.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here anyway. Do they have television shows like this in Jerusalem?
They have television shows, and they haven't got anything as beautiful and elaborate, and you are missing. When do you come?
I would love to visit that city. I really would like to visit the Holy Land. Everyone who's ever been there has come back tremendously impressed with the people and the country, and they come back with kind of a rebirth, I think, in a feeling for man. Everybody I've talked with. How long have you been the mayor of Jerusalem?
I was elected exactly the same day as John was elected, and before I took office, months later, I came here and we met in a private home of friends of ours, and we promised each other mutual asylum in our cities when we would have to run out.
You fellows must do a lot of commuting.
You'll see, here I am.
Here you are already.
And he's coming there next month, so everything is all right.
What size is the city of Jerusalem, and what common problems do you have as the mayor of that city?
Well, it's a small city. We have only 300,000 inhabitants. It's as mixed a city as New York is. Jews from 120 countries, 31 different Christian denominations, who very often are also nationalities at the same time, like the Armenians or the Greeks or the Copts, a variety of groups of Arabs. So it's as heterogeneous, as mixed as here. It's also a city of immigrants. At least half of the citizens today in Jerusalem are immigrants. Many immigrants, refugees from Arab countries, Jews have come to Jerusalem recently. A lot of people who came from Russia and from behind the Iron Curtain. Quite some Arabs who have come from the countryside, similar to the problems of internal migration here in the United States. So these two things are equal. If it's on small size, I agree with John, it's a poor city. We haven't got this wide tax base, you know. We are trying, of course, to work something out. You invented 200 years a good revolutionary slogan here, no taxation without representation.
Right.
And as if everybody all over the world interferes in the affairs of Jerusalem and tries to be represented, I'm trying to turn this around, you know, no representation without taxation. But I'm not
Hasn't worked out yet?
but I haven't gotten very far yet.
We were talking to Mayor Lindsay about living in Gracie Mansion, and I remember last night at dinner you mentioned that you, as the mayor of Jerusalem, don't have an office per se, like an official residence, but have like an apartment. Is that true?
My own private apartment, and so far the situation is nice and pleasant. I have no policemen outside, and anybody can knock at the door. Jews, Arabs, Christians, Muslims, and come in, at least on a Saturday when I'm at home.
And they know where, do they come up to the house and often knock on the door?
Sure.
Now, Mayor Lindsay has...
It's better than when they phone up at midnight that there is a water main broke, you know.
Now, the city here has, I think they still have it, the hotline, in which they can call the mayor, I guess, at any hour of the day. Do you have that kind of a situation at all?
Well, I'm in the book. They don't have to have a hotline. They come to me directly.
You're in the book, not unlisted. What is the first thing that people want to see when they come to Jerusalem as tourists?
Most probably the old walled-in city, which holds all the holy places for all the religions. The oldest, of course, is the Western Wall, the only remnant of the temple on the spot where Solomon built his temple. Incidentally, I listened in before, I had no trouble with Queen since the Queen of Sheba. and that's 3,000 years ago.
Is this...
and then, of course, the Christian shrines, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and others, the Via Dolorosa, the great mosque on the Temple Mount, where once the temple stood, and many other things.
This sounds fascinating. I must visit the country someday.
It's a beautiful city, and in spite of the architects and town planners, we'll keep it that way.
You were mentioning last night. Somebody brought up the subject last night, the friend that you had brought there, asking if you were going to run again for the mayor of Jerusalem. And I think you talked about something that if you could find something that would not be boring, if I remember. You said one thing that you do not have being a mayor of a city, that you're never bored. Yeah. Is that why you like the job?
Well, I regard boredom as the gravest of the capital sins. And this is one thing which you will not meet when you are a mayor. I believe in a small or big city. I think you can bear that out, John.
Absolutely. 1,000 times over. But we were talking last night that one of the things that most other politicians at other levels of government, when I first met Teddy Kollek, he was chief of staff to Prime Minister Ben-Gurion. That was back in 1960.
And you were a congressman.
And I was a congressman. And I had no idea that trying to operate cities, make them work right and whatnot, was as complicated, as frustrating, as maddening as it is. And I'm sure Teddy had no idea that trying to run Jerusalem would be that complicated. And yet he was engaged in foreign policy, in affairs of state. He was waging war and peace and all of those big questions like I was doing as a congressman. Nobody who's not been in this business, as Teddy Kollek will tell you, has any idea what it's all about.
You see, nobody ever phoned me at midnight to say that he was worried about the Egyptians. But they do phone me at midnight if a water main breaks.
Do you have, a lot of the major cities in this country have a drug problem, as you well know. Does that cause any problems in your city?
Well, we have a little of an indigenous problem of hashish, which is marijuana, which goes back for thousands of years and which still exists to some extent, to the same extent, but we have no serious drug problem. Some foreign students bring in a little bit, but it isn't of any worry yet. It may become a great worry one day, but not so far.
I thought
we're very lucky in that respect. We are very lucky in another thing. Of course, Jews and Arabs have different aspirations. Although they all love the city, and at the moment we get along, and we hope it will remain that way. But there is one great advantage, that if you walk through the streets, you can't differentiate, or if you come to the city, to the municipal offices, and walk through the offices, you can't differentiate by color who is a Jew or an Arab. And that, I think, is great luck, a great advantage.
It does keeps the factions at least not opposing each other as badly as if the color was different. I might ask both of you, since you're both coming up for re-election, or your terms will be coming up shortly, do you plan to run for the mayor of Jerusalem again?
Well, I'd almost like to, but I don't have the strength for it. 8 years is a long time for being a mayor. I think every year counts at least double.
What would you do? You said you don't like to be bored.
I'm an old man, well preserved, I hope, but
you
still.
You look great. You look great.
Big, at least.
You think 8 years is enough?
I think 8 years is enough.
Well, I might as well ask the mayor of New York as long as I'm in this.
What a question. He's got me right on the spot. Well, the first thing I have to do is consult my psychiatrist. That's the, and then Teddy Kollek and I will go into a discussion on the subject. Then I'll consult my wife, my 4 children, and my 3 friends.
To tell you the truth, I didn't expect to do too good on that question anyway, but I thought maybe just once we might meet the press or something like that on the show and get a commitment. But you really don't know.
Well, I'm glad you have 3 friends left after 7 years.
Yes, and that is, it's a remarkable feat, I regard it.
Hey, it is a pleasure to have you here this evening. How long are you going to be here in the
until the beginning of next week.
Then back to Jerusalem?
Then back to Jerusalem.
It's a great pleasure to have you on our show, and I hope when I come to Jerusalem, can I just come up and knock on the door and say...
Absolutely.
Remember you were on the television show?
Let me show you around. Let me show you our... We have even theaters and even great cultural institutions. We are building some... Indeed. Now, this is great. We have done 60 little pocket parks, some like you have done here, not as elegant, not with waterfalls, but Amongst them, we have a Lindsay Park, but in order to make up for it, we have also a Rockefeller Park, and all the Democrats of New York come and complain why we don't have any parks for Democrats. So we tell them just they don't have friends who pay for them.
It's a great pleasure to have you here, Mayor Kollek. I hope to see you in Jerusalem. And John? Thought you might get a kick out of meeting him. He's such a charming gentleman. You can see why he is extremely popular over there.
Great sense of humor.
We'll return after this word and talk to Muhammad Ali. Here's a word from Armour butter-basted turkeys.
When you baste the turkey, you baste the turkey on the outside. But now, the Armour people discovered how to baste the entire turkey inside and out with butter. Voila. The Armour Golden Star butter-basted turkey was born. The Armour Golden Star turkey is the one that bastes itself, inside and out. Breasts, thighs, drumsticks with pure creamery butter. All the time it roasts. Here at the Adamo Cooking School, we teach that it takes time and confidence to make a great cook. But the Armour Golden Star butter-basted turkey gives you confidence and makes you a great cook in no time.
Look for Armour Golden Star self-basting turkey at your favorite store. You'll be glad you did.
On November the 21st, Muhammad Ali fights light heavyweight champion Bob Foster out in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. He's a charming individual. The more you meet Muhammad Ali, the more you like him. Would you welcome, please, the champion, Muhammad, or former champion? How do you introduce him? The champion. The champion. Oh, yeah, yeah. I feel it. Did I ever tell you, maybe I told you this, I used to fight, did you know that, in the Navy?
No, I didn't.
I used to box. You're choked up about that, aren't you? I did. I weighed 140 pounds. That would make me what, a...
welterweight, I think.
Welterweight. And I had about 9 fights in the Navy.
Is that right? Well, you must have been pretty good, because I don't see no marks on you or nothing.
Well, I don't see many marks on you either.
Well, I am pretty good.
Yeah. No, I remember I was about 18, and I had about 7 fights, and everything went fine. And I remember on the 8th fight, I fought a fellow who was about your age, about 28. You're 28 now?
30.
Are you 30 already?
Yeah, time flies.
You're pretty old for a fighter, aren't you? I mean, generally speaking.
Right, yes. Plus, I've been boxing now 17 years, so I'm a little tired, too.
Yeah, but I remember this fellow was 28 years of age, and that's when they say you're about at your peak of strength at about 28. And he gave me a belting around, and I said, this is not a way, you know, to have fun. I said, go out and get on a little pony and ride a pony or something. And I retired. That was it, right there. Now, you're going to fight Bob Foster November the 21st.
Lake Tahoe, Nevada, yes.
Right.
Out in some hotel out there.
Sahara Tahoe.
Right, yes. It's real unusual. Been such a big fight. I think they only hold a few thousand people, not over 3,000. It's going to be held in one of the dining rooms or something, yes.
That is kind of unusual. Well, it's a great hotel out there, though.
Right. It's going to be really something. You know, usually when an arena holds 15,000 people outside waiting for fights like this. It's going to be something to see. Just a few thousand, 2,000 or 3,000 people.
Will this be televised at all?
Right. It'll be not on television, not like Joe Frazier's fights on home television.
Right.
Mine you have to pay. You have to go to closed circuit theaters to see them.
Oh, I see. Good thinking. Good thinking. When you were an amateur, didn't Bob Foster deck you once?
Right, once as an amateur. How did that get out? Who told you?
We check into these things. We check into these
Probably
things.
the agitating promoters to draw up the ticket sales. He knocked me down when I was an amateur, training in Fort Dix, New Jersey for the Olympics in Rome. And he's been living on that reputation ever since.
Well, does he still have a punch like that? I mean, what happens if he...
Yes, it's funny, I'm always knocked down by left hooks whenever I do go. Joe Frazier, Henry Cooper in England, and Alan Hudson in the Olympics, yes. And he's a good left hooker, so they're relying on that.
Let me sell something here, then we'll come back in. Were you in good shape this fight?
Pretty good.
Okay. What do you do when your nose is all stuffed up from a cold? Watch this.
Wow. Wow. This is more soothing.
In actual tests, these head cold sufferers really feel the difference between Sinex and the other leading nasal spray. They both have decongestants to unclog your nose. So why do these head cold sufferers prefer Sinex? Because of the two, only Sinex has cooling vapor medication.
Wow, I really felt something from that one. Ooh.
Head cold? Try Sinex and feel the difference.
Wow.
Why punish yourself?
A mouthwash has to taste bad to work.
No, Walter, Lavoris works and it tastes good. But nothing, Walter. Tests prove not even the leading antiseptic mouthwash is more effective against bad breath than Lavoris. And Lavoris is the one more dentists use, Walter.
It really works?
Works for me, doesn't it?
Lavoris works, and it tastes good.
We're back. We're talking with Muhammad Ali, who fights Bob Foster, November the 21st. One thing I wanted to ask you about, the altitude out at Lake Tahoe, is something around 7,000 feet, maybe a few feet over. And a lot of performers who go there find that they have to take oxygen in between their engagements. Have you thought about that?
You hear about these things. It's hard to believe that you can go somewhere and you can't breathe, you know, or you have trouble breathing. But we went about 2 weeks ago to sign the contract, and I caught myself running up the stairs because the elevator took a little too long.
Right.
And I caught myself gasping for breath, and it worried me a little.
Are you going to go out there a little bit earlier to get acclimated?
I'll be out there tomorrow evening late, and I'll believe I can be ready.
Yeah, because that is a factor.
He's already there. He's smart, Bobby Foster.
He's already there?
He's been there on 5 days now.
Doesn't that bother you, that he's been there 5 days,
Not really, but I believe I can make it.
You don't sound as positive as you usually are, Mohammed.
Well, I feel it. I don't always express it, but I feel it.
But you're going to take him. Right. When are you and Joe Frazier going to meet again?
I don't know. He's getting ready to fight George Foreman, the
That's what I hear.
#2 contender, I understand, in Jamaica. And I hope it comes off. He's been idle so long. I think if he really fights him, it'll make up for all his idleness.
Yeah.
So after that, we'll probably meet for sure.
Right. Do you still think, didn't you term Joe Frazier once a no-class street fighter?
A no-class...
Street fighter?
No.
Didn't you say that about him?
No.
You didn't?
Not those words.
Oh. What was the exact terminology?
He's a good fighter. I mean, a rough fighter, not skillful, not scientific. Takes a lot of punishment, but he keeps coming. Takes a lot of whipping, but he keeps coming until you get tired of whipping him. Then he catches up with you.
But you think you're going to meet him again eventually?
Well, I'm positive we are, yes.
Right. I wanted to ask you about this. I saw this backstage is hanging there.
This is very beautiful. I wonder if the cameras can get them close.
Get a shot of that,
This
Bob.
comes from Curacao in Aruba. I was there about probably 2 years ago.
Right.
And the people of Curacao in Aruba, they sent this to me today from one of their government representatives. Yes, right behind the stage. And
That's very good. That's good looking.
This is him, Muhammad Ali, with a star and a crescent under the bottom. And
small pair of boxing gloves.
Made out of real gold and diamonds, yes, and they just gave it to me. And I was down there on a vacation, and I promised the people that I'm going to take my family back, and anybody, if I advise them, if they're ever taking trips over there, it's nice. That's Curacao and Aruba.
I've been there. That's pretty
Somebody told me you had some land there.
I did have. I still do in Curacao.
Right, because I met a fellow there, boxing exhibition, and he mentioned, I know Johnny Carson, and he mentioned that you had some land there.
Yeah. Like to buy a little lot?
No.
Do a little real estate trading on the side. Have you, as you know, a lot of fighters, and the great fighters, sometimes later in life after they retired, have not ended up in the best financial condition at all, like Bo Jack, I think.
Right.
The great fighter is a shining shoes somewhere down in Florida, and it's happened to a great many fighters. You're not going to let that happen to you.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm glad you brought that up.
But that's true, isn't it?
Yes, but not. They're quick to talk about Joe Louis or Sugar Ray, or they talk about Bo Jack or whoever. But what I don't understand is why is it that a boxer can be a great boxer, and he's not a college degree person. It's understood he's just a great boxer, and he cannot watch his money. He cannot watch his accountants. He cannot watch his lawyers or his managers. Half of them are crooked and conniving. He cannot train and watch all this too, plus he didn't go to school for it. They did. He can make a bad investment or two, or something can happen. He can end up later a guard in some factory, and they say, ain't it terrible that Joe Louis made so much money? Or ain't it terrible that Bo Jack made so much money? But his managers, whoever they were, they don't know them. But yet and still, like, what airline is this? Boeing airline, and I was in Canada the other day, and people jump out of windows in the stock market. And I mean, these are white people who are big in business with lawyers and firms, make bad investments, and they go broke. But they always remember the name Joe Louis, always remember Bo Jack. But all of these wise, even America, understand, is broke. The Catholic schools and all kind of people need money, and they're broke. But how did they get broke?
Well, I think the reason people remember people like Joe Louis and Bo Jack is because they were in the public eye. They were celebrities.
Yes, but a big airline or a big church or a big country are more in the public than a little boxer. So, but what you're saying is right. And I found out because they have many people, not only boxers, but entertainers and jazz musicians, and white, black, all people. Many of them end up, not doing right because they don't realize that they're going to once get old and they live too big and they buy things they really don't need and they don't keep check and double check and record on everybody.
And you do that?
Oh, I have accountants and everybody checking everybody.
Good for you. That's all I meant. That's all I meant. Get an accountant to check the account.
I'm not predicting how I'm going to end up, but it won't be because I wasn't watching. And plus I'm lucky because Herbert Mohammed, my manager, is the best in the history of our boxing. I mean, like, we have no trouble. It's just the people around us that we have to watch, who don't mean no harm, I'm sure. Right. But they might make a mistake one day and overlook something.
All right. Well, let's see now. You're 30. I didn't realize you were 30 already.
You know, I was talking about age. I remember I used to watch your show, but your hair's getting gray. You know, I used to watch you. No kidding. When you come on the show now, you know, it looked like you didn't dye that, did you?
No. This is
real.
This is it.
I remember when you had dark hair, and your face looks the same, and your features, but you look distinguished now.
Yeah, that's it. You're 30 years old. How much longer you think you can fight and be effective? And then what are you looking for after that?
Well, I just built a training camp in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania. A 60 by 60 log cabin gymnasium, a big log cabin restaurant, and 2 bunkhouses right on the mountains. It's real pretty, about 20 miles out of Reading, Pennsylvania on Highway 61 North. And that's going to keep me going probably maybe another year or two. I really don't know. Probably after Joe Fage, I'm finished. But I'm on my college tour. You know,
that's right. You
Richard
do that.
Fulton, my great college agent. He keeps me booked in colleges. And I don't know, between my manager and Richard Fulton, I don't know who keeps me the busiest because I have like 37 college engagements waiting for me now if I want them, and it's impossible to take them and do the foreign exhibition tours that we have throughout Okinawa, Japan, Pakistan, and Australia, and
that's great. I know you like that too, don't you?
Well, I like the idea of meeting the people in new countries and going places. Although we're not fighting them, we get a chance to see them. But what I plan to do, answering your question after I'm through boxing, is just do all I can with our people, the black people. We have problems that only we can solve. No male can solve them, no politician, no president, no governor. Problems that we have to solve among ourselves and talking to and teaching our own people unity and discipline and respect of self before others respect us. And I have a lots to do among the 30 million people that we have here in America, representing our religious leader and teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who's doing a great job. And I heard the mayor talking about how much crime we have across the country. Well, our leader, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, once a black man accepts the Islamic teachings, he quits smoking, he quits drinking, fornicating, adultery, throws his pistol down, and he cleans himself up, and he tries to be a respectable citizen and be a man and get respect from others as well as himself. So this is a great job that he's doing, our leader, and that I would like to help him to do as soon as I'm through boxing, because as you know, in this country, a black athlete or entertainer has a lot of influence. Some of them promote whiskey, some of them make movies, nude scenes with women, and some of them take their fame to promote maybe some type whiskey or some rock and roll record, but I'd like to do all I can to uplift the people morally and spiritually, and as far as loving self and sticking together and helping self before expecting others to help them and respect them when they don't respect themselves. This is what I want to do.
Well, having known you as long as I do, I don't know anybody else who's better qualified to do that than you. And I know you mean it.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a brief pause and we'll be right back.
This is some drink. Lipton cup of soup. It tastes great. And easy. Look, open up an envelope in this cup, add some boiling water, and honestly, that's it. Real chicken noodle soup with hunks of chicken in rich noodles and parsley. Now, you'll want all the flavors. Tomato, green pea, onion, beef-flavored noodle. Because cup of soup tastes great anytime or any place you go, wherever there's boiling water. Real soup you make right in the cup instantly. Lipton cup of soup. To the festival.
Her headache is killing me. When she gets a pain in the head, it can be a big pain to me. so I give her Vanquish.
Vanquish is strong medicine. Vanquish contains more pain relievers than the largest selling extra strength tablet. And it has gentle buffers.
How's your headache, honey?
Vanquish is strong medicine.
Look, I know you have to run, but I want to ask you, do you want to make a prediction? You haven't done any predicting for a while.
Yes, I first became popular when I first started boxing 10 years ago as a professional, 12 years ago, at calling exact rounds. And out of about 35 fights, I predicted 17 fights, and 13, I predicted the exact round.
All right.
I haven't done it for a while.
Okay, go ahead.
So I have a feeling.
All right.
I've been running like 8 miles every morning. And like when I really eat, I can eat like 8 scrambled eggs, and I train at 8 o'clock in the evenings. And usually I try to be through with my daily activities at 8 o'clock at night, and something just tells me Foster's gonna fall in the 8th round.
That makes sense. All righty.
Great.
8. 8 it is. Take care. 8. It is always a kick to introduce somebody new to television, especially on this show, because this young man was a former page in this studio, assigned here, while this was our permanent home. And he's going to be appearing at the Cellar Door in Washington and Paul's Mall in Boston in the near future. He's a bright new comedian, and your audience is in a great mood tonight, so would you welcome, please, Mr. Michael Preminger. Mike.
Thank you. I hope, as a former page, that all the people who I ever took on tour here at NBC are watching, all my teachers, and all the bosses who ever fired me. Because when you're fired, that means you have to look for new work, which means going to employment agencies. And they're set up to drive you crazy. I think the same lady works at every agency in New York. You know that lady, the winner of the Alan Funt look-alike contest. Sitting there filing her nails with a graham cracker. Nice hairstyle by Joe Pepitone. And she gives you that warm, soft New York welcome. Can I help yous? Yes, ma'am. You had an ad in the paper for a combination file clerk, vice president. She says, yes, but we just gave the job away 5 minutes ago. That's how they get you every time. If you walked up and said, you had an ad for Archbishop of Canterbury, we just gave it away. And all ads in New York are in the New York Times. The Daily News you use for other things. Let's say, in a manner of speaking, you wanted to break into organized crime. You buy the Daily News and they have those headlines once a week. Joey, 3 fingers avocado, shot to death. Then you know there's an opening. And I'm not worried about part-time jobs. I have a good one. I have a part-time job in New Jersey. There are no full-time jobs in Jersey. I happen to be in the United States Air Force Reserves. Now, I'll explain the long hair. I have a wig, so you can't have long hair. And it's a lovely wig, but it's embarrassing. I get to McGuire Air Force Base, and there are guys with uniforms, rifles, tanks, bombs, and I walk in with a wig box and bobby pins. The job of all reservists across the country is to protect the United States against communist enemy invasion. And my unit does this, 1 weekend a month. And we do it by reporting to a place called Wrightstown, New Jersey. Now, personally, I don't think the enemy's coming to this country. And if they do, they're not going to Wrightstown, New Jersey. The only place for the GIs for entertainment is a place called the Pig and Whistle. You walk in, you whistle, a pig comes over. Really nice. And my unit, we don't have that much to do, so we theorized, what if an enemy tries to come to this country? They never make it. See, we have obstacles set up for them. An enemy comes to New York, and it is nice, as the mayor said, but they come to New York, the enemy has to land at Kennedy Airport, be in a holding pattern for a week and a half, 5 or 6 hours in the baggage check room. It's my tank, number 7, right. Then outside the terminal, taxi! Where you guys going? Wrightstown, New Jersey. I only go as far as Brooklyn, man. Money. Okay, how many are yous? 30,000. Okay, but a couple you have to sit in the front. On to the Jersey Turnpike, and we have a place there that'll get anybody. It's called Secaucus, New Jersey. It's a lovely town with a slight aroma. It's like trying to drive through a 3-week-old 75-foot egg salad sandwich. If they get through Secaucus, they stop at the toll booth, and the guy goes, okay, let's see, that's 50 cents for the cars. What are those? Tanks? That's other vehicles. Now, what are the long things in the back? Mobile homes? Submarines. Excuse me. Hey, Ralph! Submarines! Right. $1.75. Where you guys from? Moscow. That upstate? Then my favorite thing, they have a bodily function and they pull into the Woodrow Wilson rest area. Now, how would you like to have been president of the United States and leave behind the legacy of 2 toilets on the Jersey Turnpike? But I'm not worried about an enemy because in basic training, we were taught how to be rough, how to protect ourselves. What they did, they would give every soldier a rifle and a knife, a bayonet, and send you out into a gigantic field. And for 1 hour, you had to scream and attack a tire tube. Now, I don't care who you are. There's no way you're going to scare a tire tube. I figured if the enemy attacks me, I am in a lot of trouble. But if a Goodyear tire sneaks up behind me... Good thing about the Air Force is the training that you get to live in New York. And the mayor is right. New York is getting nicer. I've lived here my whole life. You can even go through Central Park now at 4 in the morning. It's perfectly safe if you're a bullet.
That's Mike Preminger. Wish him well. Thank you, Mike. We'll take a brief pause and be right back.
Two, three, four. Trim the tummies, trim the tummies. 1,
The things I go through not to be fat. The only fattening thing I have all day is Natural Wonder Big Lash Mascara. Big Lash fattens up my skinny lashes, and it won't smear or run. Yet it's so easy to remove. You know, fat can be beautiful.
For such thin girls, such fat lashes.
Natural Wonder Big Lash Mascara by Revlon.
Beautiful.
Don't ask a cold tablet or nighttime liquid to do Contact's job of continuous relief. You're looking right at the reason. 600 tiny time pills in this one capsule can give you up to 12 hours of relief from the cold symptoms you hate. Sneezing, runny nose, nasal congestion. One at night, one in the morning. That's it. Not just nighttime relief, but all day, then all night relief. That's Contact's job. Give your cold to Contact. #1 in the whole world.
Here's a most talented singer-composer who will open tomorrow for 1 week at the Great Southeastern Music Hall in Atlanta. It's a great kick to have him on our first show in New York. Would you welcome, please, Harry Chapin. Harry?
This is a song about an all-night trip on a cross-country bus. That's the air brakes. It's midnight at the depot, and I drag my bags in line. Traveling light, I got to go, but the bus won't be on time. Everybody's looking half alive. Later on, the bus arrives. They punch my ticket and I find a seat, and we move out past the lights. Come on, driver, where's your heat? It's cold out in the night. I keep telling to myself that I don't care. Come tomorrow, I'll be there. Take the Greyhound, it's a dog of a way to get around. Take the Greyhound, it's a doggone easy way to get you down. Well, I'm wrinkled on my stool at the rest stop. The waitress being cozy with a highway cop. My coffee's tasting tired. My eyes roll over dead. I got to go outside and get the gas out of my head. Oh, to be in bed. You got me driving. You got me driving. I'm on your Greyhound bus and you're driving. But there's nothing new about Greyhounds. And there's nothing new about feeling down. And there's nothing new about putting off or putting myself on. look into tomorrow. That's the way the loser hides. Should have realized by now that all my life's a ride. It's time to find a happy time and make myself a friend. Well, you know there ain't no rainbows waiting when this journey ends. Oh, stepping off of this dirty bus, first time I've understood. It's got to be the going, not the getting there, that's good. Now that's a thought for keeping, if I could. It's got to be the going, not the getting there. Let's go.
Thank you for making us feel so welcome back in New York. We've got a lot of great people coming up. The 3 weeks we're here with Jerry Lewis, Paul Williams. Tomorrow night we have Bob and Ray, Bobby Goldsboro, Phyllis Newman, Police Commissioner Murphy, Debbie Reynolds, George Carlin, Bette Midler, all kinds of people. We will see you tomorrow night. Good night. Thank you.
This program was pre-recorded.